You walk into a dealership with a pretty simple idea. Your old pickup truck has too many miles on it. The driver's door makes a strange noise, the seat has the shape of years of use, and there is a dent in the bed that no one even remembers how it happened. You are not looking to impress anyone. You just want to replace it with something reliable, tough, and simple enough that you understand what you are driving. The salesperson greets you with a smile and takes you to a massive new truck. He opens the door and the screens come alive. The dashboard looks more like a computer than a vehicle. There are cameras covering almost every angle, sensors everywhere, ambient lighting, power-adjustable seats with endless settings, and features hidden inside menus you have never seen before. Then comes the price. You look at it once, then again. You ask if there is a simpler version, something with fewer fragile finishes, fewer features you never asked for, and a price closer to a work tool than a luxury vehicle. The salesperson hesitates. Maybe it can be ordered. Maybe one exists somewhere else. Maybe you will have to give up some basic equipment because the manufacturer only includes it inside a much more expensive package. And without saying it directly, the conversation starts sending an uncomfortable message. Wanting simplicity means you are behind. At that moment, the problem is no longer just the number on the window sticker. The problem is that the truck sitting in front of you does not feel like it was built for you. When people talk about how pickup trucks have changed, the most common explanation is simple. They became too expensive. And yes, price is a huge part of the frustration. It is easy to photograph, compare, post online, and use as evidence that something has gone wrong. But the price is only the visible part. People can accept high prices when they feel there is a connection between what they pay, what they receive, and what they actually need. Someone might gladly spend more for durability, towing capability, safety, power, or reliability. The resentment begins when they realize that in order to get the basics, they also have to pay for a long list of things they never wanted. It does not feel like they are choosing more. It feels like they are being forced to buy more. And that difference matters because our perception of value is not based only on the number of features included. It depends on whether those features solve a problem we actually recognize as our own. You can fill a truck with technology, premium materials, and impressive features. But if the buyer only wanted a vehicle that could haul equipment, carry supplies, handle rough roads, and be repaired without turning every problem into an electronic mystery, all those upgrades may feel less like benefits and more like obstacles. To understand why this creates such an emotional reaction, we need to remember what a pickup truck represented before it became a luxury product. For decades, for many people, a truck was not just transportation. It was an extension of their ability to take action. It carried tools, moved furniture, transported materials, pulled trailers, helped someone stuck on the side of the road, handled situations where a normal vehicle simply could not. And through those experiences, something deeper was built. A quiet feeling of capability. If a problem appeared, you could do something about it. In psychology, this connects to the idea of self-efficacy, the confidence that develops when you repeatedly experience yourself solving problems and producing results. It is not about feeling invincible, it is about feeling competent. Imagine someone arriving at a job site early in the morning with the truck bed full of equipment, or someone driving down a rural road as a storm begins. Or a neighbor showing up because something needs to be moved and nobody else has the right vehicle. The truck participates in those moments as a practical object, but also as a confirmation of identity. It does not only say, "I own a vehicle," it says, "I am prepared." Over time, that preparation can become part of how someone sees themselves. The machine and the person create a shared story. Every scratch, repair, and difficult trip becomes a reminder of a moment when something was solved. That is why the relationship can become so personal. The vehicle does not represent ownership alone. It represents control over real-world problems. It also strengthens something known as an internal locus of control, the feeling that your choices and actions influence what happens around you. When you can load, repair, tow, or overcome challenges without immediately depending on someone else, you experience a very real form of independence. But here is where the contradiction begins. Modern trucks can be objectively better than older ones. They are often safer, more powerful, more comfortable, and more advanced. Yet at the same time, some owners feel less connected to the experience. Before, a function might depend on a physical switch or lever. Now, It might be buried inside a touchscreen menu. Before, a strange noise could give you a clue about what was failing. Now, a small issue can trigger warning lights that require specialized tools and software to understand. That does not mean technology is bad. Cameras can prevent accidents. Driver assistance systems can reduce fatigue. Better interiors can make long trips easier. Electronics can improve performance, safety, and efficiency. The problem appears when every improvement increases the distance between the person and the machine. When you no longer understand what is happening, your sense of control decreases. And when every repair seems to depend on a dealership, proprietary software, or specialized parts, the independence that the truck once represented starts to fade. The truck may have more capability than ever, but you may feel like you have less authority over it. This also increases cognitive load, the amount of information your brain must process to complete a task. Something that used to be simple now requires navigating menus, interpreting symbols, and accepting that the vehicle itself will make more decisions for you. For some people, this feels convenient. For others, it creates a strange discomfort. It is not necessarily a fear of new technology. It may simply be resistance to losing predictability. Imagine someone parked outside a hardware store. They need to change a simple setting. They tap the screen, open a menu, enter another menu, choose the wrong option, start over, and eventually wonder why something so basic requires so much attention. The scene seems insignificant, but psychologically, something important is happening. The person is no longer the one who understands the tool. The tool is now setting the conditions for how it can be used. And if you bought a truck because you valued independence, that reversal feels especially frustrating. The contradiction becomes even stronger when the tough work truck becomes too valuable to actually use. You leave the dealership with a brand new pickup. The paint shines, the interior is flawless. The price is still in the back of your mind. The first time someone parks too close, you worry. The first time you put equipment in the bed, you think about scratches. The first time you take it down a narrow trail, you calculate the risk of damaging it. The vehicle that was supposed to remove your worries begins creating new ones. This connects to something psychologists call loss aversion. People often feel the pain of losing something more strongly than the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. The more expensive and emotionally important an object becomes, the more carefully we protect it. There is also the endowment effect. Once something belongs to us, we tend to see it as more valuable. That is why someone can buy a truck designed for extreme conditions and then avoid those same conditions to protect their investment. It is not necessarily hypocrisy. It is a predictable consequence of turning a durable tool into something too expensive, too delicate, or too symbolic to treat like a tool. The truck bed stays empty because loading it might damage it. The truck avoids mud because cleaning it will be difficult. The off-road capability becomes something discussed more than experienced. The truck keeps the appearance of capability, but it starts losing its original psychological purpose. It no longer makes you feel free to act. It makes you feel responsible for preserving it. So when did this transformation happen? Probably not because of one single decision. It was the result of many forces coming together. Manufacturers discovered that many buyers were willing to pay for more comfort and convenience, and that made sense. Someone who spends hours inside a truck may genuinely appreciate better seats, quieter cabins, improved technology, and smoother rides. The problem was when that desire for comfort became interpreted as an unlimited desire for more. If one luxury feature sells, add another. If a larger screen attracts attention, make it bigger. If more power creates excitement, add even more. If a bigger truck communicates strength, build an even bigger one. A cycle begins. Features that once felt extraordinary become normal. This resembles a psychological process called hedonic adaptation. We quickly become accustomed to things that once impressed us. What felt like a luxury yesterday becomes the expectation tomorrow. To create excitement again, something else must be added. More size, more power, more technology, more status, more exclusivity. But adding visible features does not always create equal satisfaction. A comfortable seat can solve a real problem. A decorative upgrade may impress during a test drive and become irrelevant weeks later. The industry became very good at creating things that looked impressive in advertisements. But some of the qualities people value most are harder to market. Simplicity, reliability, repairability, trust. Nobody walks into a dealership and gets excited by a sign that says, "This truck will not make your life unnecessarily complicated." But after years of ownership, that might be one of the most valuable features. The mistake was never offering luxury trucks. The mistake was allowing luxury to become the dominant direction, as if every buyer was chasing the same identity. Because not everyone buys a truck for the same reason. For one person, it is a work tool. For another, it represents independence. For someone else, it is a reward after years of hard work. It can also represent success, belonging, protection, or personal achievement. Two people can drive the same model and satisfy completely different emotional needs. One person looks at the truck bed and sees everything they can build and transport. Another looks at the badge and sees what it communicates when they arrive somewhere. One values real capability. The other values the feeling associated with that capability. And both motivations can exist at the same time. That is the uncomfortable truth. We like to believe our purchases are completely rational. We say we choose based on safety, practicality, space, or performance. But objects also participate in building our identity. We buy things for what they do, but also for what they say about us. A truck can communicate that you are hardworking, capable, successful, independent, or prepared. It can become part of the story you tell about yourself. That does not automatically make someone shallow. Everyone uses external objects to express parts of their identity. Clothing, homes, phones, vehicles. The problem begins when the symbol replaces the experience, when looking capable becomes more important than actually increasing your ability. So, ask yourself, does this truck truly expand what you can do? Or does it simply reduce the fear of not appearing capable enough? There is no universal answer. Maybe you use every feature. Maybe you need the capability every day. Maybe you simply love the comfort, design, and presence of the vehicle. Enjoyment is a valid reason. The reflection begins when you can separate a conscious choice from a need for validation. Do you want more power because you use it? Or because knowing it is there makes you feel safer? Does the size give you practical value or emotional protection? Did you choose the truck, or did you choose the feeling you hope others have when they see you driving it? These questions are not meant to shame anyone. They are meant to return control to the person making the decision. Because autonomy is not only about being able to buy something, it is about understanding why you want it. Maybe the biggest loss is not simply that affordable trucks disappeared. Markets change, technology evolves, prices rise. The deeper loss is that it has become harder to find a truck that represents usefulness without demanding a luxury identity. A truck that can be used without fear. That can be comfortable without becoming excessive. That can include technology without creating dependence. That does not treat simplicity as inferiority. Imagine the buyer back inside the dealership. After looking at several models, they finally find one that feels right. They open the door. The materials feel durable. The controls are familiar. There is technology, but it does not dominate the experience. The bed looks like something meant to be used. They sit down and feel something they did not feel in the most expensive models. Relief? Not because they reject progress, but because the vehicle reflects the priorities they recognize in themselves. At that moment, value stops being a list of features. It becomes alignment. The best tool is not always the one that can do the most things. Sometimes it is the one that lets you do what matters without adding unnecessary complications. The truck industry can rebuild trust by recognizing that buyers do not all want the same thing. Some want luxury, some want capability, some want status, some want simplicity. The future does not require going backward. It requires giving people real choices. Because the biggest failure of the modern truck market was not simply charging more. It was making many buyers feel like they had to pay more just to recover a sense of control that trucks once gave them naturally. So, the next time you see a massive, expensive, technology-filled pickup truck, do not only ask how much it costs. Ask what feeling it delivers in return. Does it give you more freedom? Or does it make you responsible for protecting, financing, and maintaining an image of capability? Maybe a tool does not lose its purpose when it becomes luxurious. Maybe it loses its purpose when proving strength becomes more important than putting that strength into your hands. If you saw yourself in this story, share your thoughts in the comments. What should a pickup truck represent to you? And if this made you think differently about the vehicles we choose, consider sharing this video and subscribing for more stories about psychology, identity, and human behavior. Fim de narrativa.